Hello and welcome to another Witcher lore compilation video, this time about the Cursed Ones. Cursed Ones are a category of Witcher bestiary dedicated to beings who are cursed or are born as a result of a curse. Before starting the video, let me explain a bit about my lore compilation series. This is my second video in the playlist. Each time I finish a category of Witcher lore, I make these long-form videos for you to relax and enjoy some Witcher lore. So if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button, as it greatly helps our channel grow. With that said, let's begin this video.
Told you I'd kill you.
I knows well what you said. Do it.
If you want death, find some reins and a tree with a strong limb.
Wouldn't work. Couldn't do it. Always been a coward. Do it. Please.
Hello and welcome to another Witcher lore video, this time about werewolves. First, I'll talk about their lore and then I'll tell the stories of each significant werewolf individually. So without further ado, let's begin. Werewolf is a human or humanoid who can change into the form of a man-wolf crossbreed, which is much stronger than both. In Witcher universe, there are 3 ways to become a werewolf. First one is through a curse. Unlike TV shows that depict being a werewolf as a cool thing, in the world of The Witcher, it is usually a punishment and curse, resulting in suffering of the cursed man in most cases. But why? How can becoming such a strong being be a curse? Well, those who become werewolves through a curse don't have a control on it. They will transform on the full moon, and that's it. They can't change whenever they want or need, which basically renders their ability useless. They have to sneak out on full moons and go to wilderness away from their cities or villages, in order not to hurt their family or the people they love. And if they forget, well, then they will wake up to a tragedy, the pain of which they usually can't bear. There are of course many cursed werewolves throughout Witcher, but I'm gonna talk about 2 of them, both of whom are of course cursed, but the similarities end there, as their curses are ultimately different. First, let's talk about the quest Wild at Heart. This quest is about a cursed werewolf called Nilan, in the village of Blackba. His wife went missing and, desperate to find her, he posts a contract and Geralt picks it up. So Geralt naturally starts looking and asking people around. The couple had a good relationship and Nilan himself was a respected villager. But the story of Hannah's disappearance had a tragic end. It turned out that she had been killed by her own husband. He did not do this on purpose, however, afflicted with the curse of lycanthropy, he would hide in the forests during his transformation, in order to protect his friends and loved ones. Hannah's sister Margaret knew this secret, and had one of her own. She was in love with Nilan, and fiercely jealous of Hannah's life with him, she decided to take Hannah into the woods to watch her husband's transformation, hoping she would then abandon him in disgust. Sadly, Hannah was careless enough to draw Werewolf's attention. Margaret was able to escape, but her sister was not so lucky. Nilan transformed into the bloodthirsty beast, slaughtered the love of his life with his own hands. Finally, he asks Geralt to kill him, knowing what he had done. He couldn't bear it anymore. Whether Geralt ends Nilan's suffering by killing him or lets him live with the burden of his actions depends on you. So in this story, we see how it is a curse and what grave consequences it can have. But it is nothing compared to the next story. Yes, there is no pain worse than knowing you have killed your loved ones, but a werewolf, if he is careful, can avoid it and just disappear on the full moon. But the next curse has no way of avoiding. You Witcher fans know whom I'm talking about. It's none other than Morkvag. Morkvag was a feared and ruthless pirate who terrorized the seas around Eskelliga. His reputation for cruelty was unmatched, and he and his crew left a trail of destruction wherever they went. Morkvag was said to fear nothing except the wrath of gods. In order to dispel that rumor as well, Morkvag decided to desecrate Freya's garden, a sacred place dedicated to the goddess Freya. There, they rounded up priestesses and bound them, but the archpriestess Ulf stood in Morkvag's way. He cut her down together with the other clergywoman, but with her dying breath, she uttered a curse upon him. It turns out it was not the priestess who cursed Morkvag, but was Einar, one of Morkvag's crew members. Disgusted with the atrocities Morkvag committed against the gods by defying the garden, Einar transformed Morkvag into a werewolf using cursed wolf pendant given to him by his father. He was transformed into a werewolf. The curse not only bound him to the garden for eternity, it also gave him an immense hunger that no food or prey could ever satisfy, as it immediately turns to ash. Even trying to consume his own flesh would cause him incredible pain. If he is killed, he invariably is resurrected and returns to the garden, where the cycle begins anew. Geralt of Rivia encounters Morkvag during the quest in Wolf's Clothing. Geralt learns about Morkvag's curse and is given the task of either lifting the curse or killing him permanently. The quest offers multiple outcomes depending on the player's choices. Now let's talk about the second way you can be a werewolf, and that's having a werewolf parent. This way has all of the benefits of being a werewolf without downsides. Those who are born a werewolf can change whenever they want and seem to have more control on themselves. This way, they don't pose a danger to their loved ones, and whenever they or their family is in danger, they can change into a werewolf and save their families. This way, it's actually useful because cursed werewolves only can change in full moons. If their loved ones are in danger, they can't really do anything. They would be as helpless as a normal man. The control over changing presents many opportunities. The werewolf can use it for good or bad. In Witcher 1, for example, Vincent Mace was the head of city's guard in Vizima. He was a werewolf and used this ability to fight crime. The third way to become a werewolf is by being bitten by another werewolf. This, however, rarely happens, and there is no guarantee to turn into a werewolf. In most of the cases, the victim would be left only with a wound and nothing else. Werewolves emerge after the conjunction of spheres. Or to be more precise, therianthropy diseases, including lycanthropy, appeared in the world after the conjunction of spheres, affecting non-humans and early human populations alike. So, this makes a lot of things clear. First, werewolves didn't jump on Earth, appearing like a lot of other monsters as a whole being did, but rather the ability to become werewolf came to existence. Think of it as a virus that comes and afflicts people. How the first man became a werewolf is unclear, but I have a theory. There are 3 methods to turn into a werewolf, but the first one couldn't be through a bite, as there should already be a werewolf to bite you. You also cannot be born a werewolf, as again there should already be a werewolf to be your parent. So I think the first werewolf must have been cursed. As I said, lycanthropy appeared after the conjunction of spheres, and then someone, aware of this, probably cursed someone to be a werewolf. Like the virus is there, and you inject it to somebody. Now, let's talk about their characteristics and attributes. But before we do that, if you have enjoyed watching this video, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button, as it greatly helps our channel to grow. Werewolves possess extraordinary physical abilities. They are incredibly strong, capable of tearing through armor and crushing bones with ease. Their speed and agility makes them formidable hunters, able to outrun and outmaneuver most prey. Werewolves also have heightened senses, particularly their sense of smell, which allows them to track their prey over great distances. Yet their most important attribute, in my opinion, is their regenerative abilities, healing wounds that would be fatal to ordinary human. However, their one true weakness is silver. Weapons forged from silver can pierce their hide and prevent their rapid healing. The transformation into a werewolf is not just a physical change, but a psychological one as well. During the full moon, the afflicted loses all senses of humanity, driven by a primal urge to hunt and kill. However, some werewolves retain memories of their actions during their transformation, leading to immense guilt and sorrow. This duality often drives them to isolation, as they fear harming those they love. And now for the last part, let's read the journal entry.
Werewolves aren't as bad as they're made out to be. Werewolves, though they're every bit as bad and worse. Elsa Vilge, Archer. Werewolves are creatures with both men and wolves inside them. When in beastly form, they take the worst traits of each: the wolf's drive to kill and hunger for raw flesh, and the man's cruel and calculating intelligence. A werewolf's condition comes about through a curse, and the transformations happen outside his conscious control. When he reverts to human form, he has no memory of his deeds, otherwise he would surely go mad and take his own life. Werewolves are active at night, particularly when the moon is full. Though they hunt alone, when threatened they will summon wolves to aid them. Werewolves rarely feel the need to flee, for few adversaries put up much of a fight against them. They strike as swiftly as lightning with claws sharp as razors and regenerate any damage received in mere moments. When fighting werewolves, a witcher should wield a blade covered in oil harmful to the cursed and have a large supply of devil's puffballs handy. A werewolf's curse can at times be lifted, yet there is no universal, surefire method for doing this. A witcher seeking to undertake such a task must there equip himself with a great deal of patience and sturdy armor.
The quest of Bloody Baron is without a doubt one of the most memorable quests in The Witcher 3, which introduces a unique monster with a disturbing yet heartbreaking background, the BOTCHLING. Hello and welcome to another Witcher lore video, this time about BOTCHLING and LUBBERKIN. The reason that I decided to put them both in one video is that they're the two sides of one creature. They are the same being but with opposite characteristics. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. BOTCHLING is essentially a fetus, and a very dead one at that. When an unwanted fetus is miscarried and then not properly buried, there is a high chance it turns into a BOTCHLING, which resembles a grotesque, decaying fetus with sharp teeth. Born unwanted and without a name, it haunts the very thing it couldn't be, a child conceived out of love. At nights, it prowls searching for pregnant women. It hides under the bed and gets to work. At first, the poor mother would experience nightmares. You have to consider that a pregnant woman is already vulnerable, and a little disturbance can cause a lot of damage. Then it starts the fever, and finally, when the poor mother is so weak that she can't defend herself, BOTCHLING makes the final attack. It lashes its sharp teeth into the pregnant woman and draws blood until both the mother and fetus are dead. BOTCHLING only targets pregnant women, and other people are safe until they don't provoke it. When threatened, the BOTCHLING turns into the size of a big man and resembles a ghoul with spikes on its back. In this form, the BOTCHLING has no problem killing men, not to mention it has the ability to summon other spirits for help. Now, BOTCHLING is created from improper burial of unwanted, stillborn infants, usually without a name. Names are powerful seals, which can greatly help containing the BOTCHLING, yet there is a path of redemption, an elven ritual which can turn it into a LUBBERKIN. But before getting into that, let's delve into its mythology roots. In the shadowy realms of Slavic mythology, the Proniak emerges as one of the most unsettling and tragic figures. These malevolent spirits are born from the improper burial of stillborn infants or children who died shortly after birth. The Proniak, with its twisted form and sorrowful origins, embodies the pain and neglect of unrealized life. The Proniak is believed to come into existence when a stillborn fetus or an improperly buried infant is denied proper resting place. These spirits are often depicted as grotesque, deformed beings reflecting the anguish and torment of their untimely death. Unlike many other spirits, the Proniak is not merely a ghost but a powerful demon, driven by a deep sense of injustice and rage. Proniaks are known for their hostile nature. They hunt the places where they were buried or the homes of those who wronged them. These spirits are particularly vengeful towards pregnant women, drawing parallels to their own tragic beginnings. They are said to cause nightmares, illness, and even death to those they hunt. In Slavic folklore, the Proniak serves as a grim reminder of importance of proper burial rites and the sanity of life. The belief in these spirits underscores the cultural taboos surrounding pregnancy and childbirth. For instance, it was believed that a stillborn child would not turn into a Proniak if buried under the threshold of the house, transforming instead into a protective house spirit, known as Kobuk. Through a ritual, you can turn the malevolent BOTCHLING into the opposite, a guardian soul that takes care of the household. LUBBERKIN is a friendly soul created from taking BOTCHLING and properly burying it at the threshold of the family estate, where it turns into a glowing soul. This transformation requires giving it a name. LUBBERKIN can help you find those it is connected to by blood. Although there isn't much to be said about this creature, we can better understand it through its mythology roots. The Klobak, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, is believed to originate from the spirits of stillborn infants or children who died shortly after birth. When these infants are buried under the threshold of a house, their spirits transform into Klobak, rather than becoming malevolent entities like Proniak. This transformation is a testament to the power of proper burial rites and the sanity of life in Slavic culture. Klobaks are often depicted as blue apparitions with vibrant and healthy features, reflecting the purity and innocence of the infant they once were. These spirits are known to diligently watch over their families, particularly their mothers, providing protection and sense of warmth and calm. They might even possess small animals like cats to stay physically close to their loved ones. In Slavic households, the presence of Klobak is considered a blessing. These spirits are believed to protect the home from harm and misfortune, ensuring the well-being of the family. The Klobak's role underscores the importance of honoring the dead and maintaining strong family bonds. And with that, this video comes to an end. Thank you for watching, and until the next one, goodbye. Witcher 3 has a way of taking fairy tales and flipping them over their heads, changing the colorful and happy world of the fairy tales into dark, brutally honest reality. No happy endings for Witcher universe, and the story of the Toad Prince is no exception. It's a particularly sad story as everyone involved in it is, in a way, a victim. The story revolves around many lives ruined due to the bad luck or bad decisions. First, let me tell you the story and then we'll get to the other parts later. Prince Servet, a noble and curious soul, set out on a grand tour of the northern kingdoms. His mission: to learn as much as possible about the continent before taking on his royal duties. During his travels, Servet arrived in Redania, where he met and fell deeply in love with a young noblewoman named Iris. Her parents were thrilled with this match and quickly supported the idea of their union. But there was complications. Iris was already in a relationship with Olgierd von Evrik, a nobleman who had recently fallen into poverty. When Iris's parents decided to proceed with marrying her to Servat, Olgierd's jealousy and anger knew no bounds. In a fit of rage, Olgierd unintentionally cursed Prince Servat, transforming him into a monstrous creature. Banished to the sewers of Oxenfurt, Servat's venom began to contaminate the city's water supply, causing widespread illnesses. By 1272, the situation had become so severe that Royal Redanian army had to close the sewers and investigate the source of contamination. Growing bored of Servat's suffering, Olgierd decided to end it. Instead of seeking to lift the curse, he hired the witcher Geralt of Rivia to kill the creature in the sewers. Unaware of this monster's true identity, Geralt accepted the task. In the dark, damp tunnels beneath Oxenfurt, Geralt confronted the beast. After a fierce battle, Geralt defeated the creature only to discover that it was a cursed prince. The prince's tragic end served as a grim reminder of the destructive power of jealousy and the importance of understanding the true nature of those we seek to destroy. This is the basic story, but there is much more to it. First, let's talk about Servat. He was one of the unluckiest people in The Witcher. He was an Ophirian prince, and a good one at that. He decided to travel the world to learn and to be a good ruler. Pretty noble thing to do, but he ran out of luck when he visited Oxenford. Not my channel, of course, but the city. He fell in love with Iris, Olgierd's beloved, there in Oxenford. Olgierd and Iris were to get married, but before that happened, Olgierd's family lost its assets, falling from nobility into poverty. So Iris's family no longer wanted her to marry Olgierd. And then the Ophiri prince showed up, and everything changed. Olgierd, out of desperation, cursed the prince, but not intentionally. He didn't want to turn Servat into a monster. He just shouted out of pain and despair, through his heart. And that shows the purity of love he had for Iris. And Servat was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, seeing the wrong girl. And even worse, the person who cursed him and turned him into a monster didn't really intended to do so. And that's how unlucky the noble prince was. The other parties involved, Iris and Olgierd, were not that much different. Iris died out of loneliness, or as the demon dog and cat put it, her heart simply burst. And Olgierd lost everything he fought for. I'm not gonna go into details about that as he has his own video. The Toad Prince contaminated the water, and as a result a lot of people got sick, but they were not the only victims. After Redania closed the sewers to stop the contamination, the Toad Prince got new voluntary victims, romantic women. But why would someone go down to the dangerous, dirty sewers to see a dangerous monster who could kill her? Well, the answer lies in the origin of the Toad Prince's story, the Frog Prince. Once upon a time, in a faraway kingdom, there lived a beautiful princess who loved to play with her golden ball. One day, while playing near a pond, she accidentally dropped the ball into the water. Distraught, she began to cry. Suddenly, a frog emerged from the pond and offered to retrieve the ball for her, but only if she promised to be his friend and let him live in the palace. Desperate to get her ball back, the princess agreed, thinking the frog's request was a joke. The frog retrieved the ball, and the princess ran back to the palace, forgetting her promise. That evening, the frog arrived at the palace and reminded the princess of her promise. Reluctantly, she let him in and allowed him to eat from her plate and sleep on her pillow. The next morning, the princess woke up to find that the frog had transformed into a handsome prince. He explained that he had been cursed by a wicked witch and that only the kindness of a princess could break the spell. The princess and the prince fell in love and lived happily ever after. And that's why they did it, believing in a fairy tale, wanting to live happily ever after, thinking they could be the one who breaks the curse. And as a result, we see all those female corpses down there in the sewers. Life is no fairy tale, and The Witcher makes sure you understand it.
The legends of the Toad Prince had always fascinated me. They spoke of a cursed prince, trapped in a monstrous form, waiting for someone brave enough to break the spell. Driven by the curiosity and a sense of adventure, I decided to seek him out. The sewers of Oxenford were dark and foreboding, but I pressed on, guided by the tales I'd heard. As I ventured deeper, the air grew thick with the smell of decay, and the sound of dripping water echoed around me. Finally, I saw him. A massive, grotesque toad, with eyes that seemed to hold a glimmer of humanity. I approached cautiously, my heart pounding with a mix of fear and excitement. But then he lunged at me with a speed I hadn't anticipated. His powerful limbs pinned me down, and I felt the cold, slimy touch of his skin. Panic surged through me as I struggled to break free, but it was no use. The legends had not prepared me for this. As his venom seeped into my veins, I felt my strength ebb away. My vision blurred, and the world around me faded into darkness. My last thought was a fleeting regret for chasing myths that should have remained in the shadows. The Toad Prince's curse claimed another victim, and the sewers of Oxenford kept their deadly secret.
And with that, this video comes to an end. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more Witcher content. Werebears, known as berserkers on the Skellige Isles, are simply men that can transform into bears, and are in many ways similar to werewolves. Like them, being a werebear can be inherited from a werebear parent, or acquired through a curse. And like werewolves, a bite from a werebear does not typically result in the victim becoming one. But unlike werewolves, there's another way to become a werebear, a controlled, ritualistic way. It was invented by a group of Svalblood worshippers called Wildcars. But who is Svalblood and who are Wildcars? In Witcher Wiki it says, Svalblood was an ancient deity worshipped by a cult cast out of the lands of Skellige many years ago. Even in a land of violence-oriented culture, the worship practiced bloody and cruel rituals that repulsed the minds of many Skelligers. So Svalblood was sort of a god that allowed man to bear transformation through a ritual. Witcher 3 didn't dedicate much to this god, as it is only a part of side quest. You can skip the whole thing if you want, but Witcher Gwent game provides more information. The next section is more detailed information about Svalblood, which is the history of werebears, and after that, I'll talk about the Wildcars. The Skelligers hold a special reputation on the continent for their cruelty. In truth, the folk of the Isle do indeed revel in battle, in blood honorably spilled. Though, as with all things, some live at an extreme, worshipping an idol who personifies the frenzy and remorseless cruelty of battle. He is called Svalblood. Svalblood is an incarnation of both man and bear, in such a way that can give even the grisliest Skelligers nightmares. His deformed body is not unlike a battlefield in itself, where contradictory elements perpetually clash, a true embodiment of grotesque. His acolytes would take hallucinogenic decoctions before heading deep within a cave at the heart of Skellige. Once there, the cavern's bear would feast upon them alive. Then, like parasites, the cultist would seize control of the beast's body. The Jarls of the Skellige Isles at last decided to put an end to the practice. They seized Svalblood's followers, bound them to longships, and cast them out to the high seas, without a sail to guide them. This was to be the final blow to eradicate the cult, once and for all. Alas, it is not so easy to kill a god. The heart of the Svalblood's cult was rooted at Fornhalla, a settlement situated atop a nigh impossible mountains of Ardeskellig. After worship of the cruel idol became forbidden, the village home were deserted. Its temple had fallen into disrepair. Yet those who have since stepped foot on the grounds of Fornhalla, be they shepherds herding a stray sheep or adventurers seeking shelter from a blizzard, have sworn by the gods, upon their return of what they witnessed, fresh blood glistening on the altars to Svalblood, and the roar of the bears is still echoing from the cavern's below. Alas, the truth of the cult's survival struck the islanders in the harshest of ways. A feast at Kertrold, organized by Jarl Krachankret, was violently interrupted by blood-soaked massacre. Normally, for a feast to end in a brawl would come as no great surprise, perhaps even the preferred way to cap the night. Yet in this case, several of the guests transformed into ferocious bears, eviscerating innocents. Fortunately, fate spared some lucky lives by delivering a seasoned witcher to the castle that very day. The advent of Crimson Curse emboldened Svalbard's fanatics. They emerged from hiding, worshipping their cruel god with newfound zeal. Many young warriors with dreams of glory and unstoppable strength succumb to the whispers of the cult's depraved druids and take part in their forbidden rituals. Jarls have convened to discuss whether to lead another raid into the mountains of Archespore or to forget conflicts of the past and use the bear's god followers to defend Skellige against its foes. Now that we fully understand Svalbard, let's talk about the Wildcars. We are first introduced to them in the quest King's Gambit. There at the ceremony you see them fist-fighting Hjalmar, and a few moments later they turn into werebears and slaughter everyone. After that you have two options, help Cyrus or Hjalmar. If you go with Cyrus you'll miss the whole werebear related content, so I suggest you go with Hjalmar. But before delving into Hjalmar's quest, let's talk about Wildcars. In Witcher Wiki it says, Wildcars, meaning wild men in Skellige jargon, are brotherhood of warriors in Skellige Highlands, independent of any clan. They eat what they hunt and live only to kill. What's unknown to the rest of islanders is that they secretly worship the forbidden deity Svalbard, and all the blood they spill is meant to be in sacrifice to him. The remaining priests of Svalbard submit Wildcars to trials meant to ensure only the strongest individuals pass, and then recreate them into werebears. I wanna point out that this does not mean only the Wildcars were werebears. You still could become one through a curse or parent. Wildcars are a group who worship Svalbard and voluntarily change into werebears through a ritual. It is, you can say, part of their culture. The following text is about the history of Wildcars to shed more light on their secrets. It reads, in Skellige's formative years, when acolytes of Svalbard nearly drowned the isle in blood, a short civil war was erupted between the cultists and the rest. During it, berserkers committed mass murders and massacres until they were defeated. Worshipping Svalbard was then forbidden. His priests and followers bound to the ship without sails and cast out to the sea. However, one small henge in Fornhalla, the once lively seat of Svalbard's cult, full of ancient temples dedicated to him that had fallen into disrepair, survived. Fornhalla's secret underground caves were where a few priests hid and began creating Wildcars. Since then, warriors who have heard the call of the bear abandoned their families and joined the community. They fought alongside regular Skelligers for decades, and aside from building up a formidable, myth-bordering reputation, remained mysteries, revealing neither therianthropy nor cultism until 1272. After King Bran Tursich died, his wife Brina sought the Wildcars out to recruit them for a coup, which would turn Skellige into hereditary monarchy, with Svanrig Tursich as the king. Their druid artist was promised the position of advisor, hierophant title, and lordship over Freya's temple, with priestesses expelled. Now, back to the Hjalmar's quest. If we follow Hjalmar, we get to know interesting facts about Wildcars and their ritual. First, while encountering a berserker, he talks about the ritual. Not everyone who wants to become a werebear gets a chance. They first have to pass the first stage, which is they are put in groups of 6, and only 3 of them, who are the stronger ones, get a chance to participate in the ritual, and the other 3, who are weak ones, are sacrificed. So if you apply for this, there's a 15% chance that you die as a sacrifice.
Looking for death?
Nay, vengeance!
And answers. Why do you attack Kertrolda?
We didn't come to the feast to kill, but we've no regrets about what happened there. There are weaklings in every herd. They must die to make room for those of strong blood.
Like the men whose corpses we found.
Aye. Those who wish to join us enter the Ursine circle in groups of 6. We take only. The weak give their lives in sacrifice. The strong start their lives anew.
Strong blood? What are you talking about?
I speak of the she-bear and her cub.
We've talked enough.
Good. Talking tires me.
The she-bear and her cubs is definitely a reference If you guys know where to, please let me know in the comment section below. But my understanding is that when he says, I speak of the she-bear and her cubs, he is literally referring to werebears. Now, bear's universe is a maternal one. It's the she-bear that takes care of and raises the cubs, and male bears are known to eat the cubs. So the she-bear could refer to where it all started, the mother of all werebears and her cubs, the line which continues for hundreds of years. And they all are very strong, so you could say that when Berserker is talking about the strong blood, he is referring to werebears. Take it with grain of salt, as it is just my theory. Initially I thought Svalbard could be the she-bear, which would have made me sure, but it's a male deity, so it doesn't line up. At the time Geralt was in Skellige, the glorious days of Berserkers were long gone. Certainly you are familiar with the slogan art for art's sake. Well, for Berserkers it was murder for murder's sake. They just wanted to kill, and soon took many victims. Of course brave islanders could not stand that. They fought back and came victorious, though many of them died. This led to their banishment. The islanders destroyed the sacred sites of the werebear's god, to rid themselves of the cult's influence. Werebears are exceptionally strong, even more so than the real bears. They may also enjoy the company of other ursine, similar to how werewolves associate with canines. Now that we're done with the lore, let's delve into the mythology. Berserkers were legendary Norse warriors known for their ferocious fighting style and trance-like fury in battle. These warriors were believed to channel the strength and ferocity of bears, wolves, or wild boars, making them formidable opponents. The Berserkers were often associated with the god Odin, the supreme deity in Norse mythology. They were said to enter a state of uncontrollable rage, during which they felt no pain and fought with superhuman strength. This trance-like state made them incredibly dangerous, both to their enemies and sometimes to their own allies. In historical accounts, Berserkers served as elite shock troops and bodyguards for the kings and nobles. They were known for their savagery and lack of fear, which contributed to their fearsome reputation. Some sources suggest that they might have used intoxicating substances or rituals to induce their berserker state. The berserkers' wild and unruly behavior also led to their portrayal as villains in many Norse sagas. They were often depicted as outlaws who committed acts of violence and chaos. Despite this, their legendary status has endured, and they remain a popular subject in modern media and literature. And that was it for the mythology. The next part is the Witcher entry. But before that, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button, as it greatly helps our channel grow.
Now finish your soup, or a berserker will come and swallow you whole. Skellige mother scolding a child. Skellige legends speak of men known as berserkers, who transform into bears when overwhelmed by battle rage. In doing so, they lose all self-awareness and are driven by a bloodlust, which they must satiate in order to return to human form. Few believe these blood-curdling tales, however, not even in Skellige, where the inhabitants usually treat even the least probable legends with the utmost gravity. This indicates either that berserkers are in fact mere figments of mead-sodden imaginations, or else that they have learned to hide their abilities from the rest of the islanders. The Skald's ballads indicate a berserker transformed in the heat of battle cannot be distinguished from a true-born bear. Only minute anatomical details, such as the shape of their tongues and teeth, reveal their secret. Descriptions of their fighting prowess paint them as invulnerable to pain and able to heal any wound received almost at once. If these men-turned bears truly do exist, one can suppose that, like werewolves and lycanthropes, they are particularly vulnerable to oils that harm cursed creatured. But if we are to give credence to ancient songs about these creatures' deeds, about the mass murders and massacres they have committed, we can only hope that no Witcher will have to test this hypothesis.
Hello and welcome to another Witcher lore video, this time about Archespores. Archespores are among the most intriguing and deadly creatures in the world of The Witcher. These plant-like monsters are not only a testament to the dark magic and curses that permeate the land, but also a symbol of nature's twisted vengeance. Archespores are believed to be born from the blood-soaked soil of battlefields, sites of massacre, and places where heinous crimes have been committed. According to legend, these cursed plants arise from the ill will and cruelty of humans, embodying the wrath of nature and the gods. They are often found near the tombs of murder victims or in areas where dark rituals have taken place. Archespores resemble gigantic, grotesque flowers with traits akin to bloodthirsty sundews. Their appearance is both mesmerizing and horrifying, with vibrant colors that belie their deadly nature. There are 4 known variants of Archespores, each distinguished by its color and level of danger. Brown Archespores are the least dangerous, often found in less cursed areas. Green Archespores are more dangerous, with potent toxics. Purple Archespores are among the most lethal, capable of inflicting severe damages. And finally, Yellow Archespores, rare and believed to be cultivated by mages from Ben Ard, with strengths comparable to green variants. Archespores are stationary but extremely aggressive. They attack using powerful jaw-like leaves and can spray acid that causes severe poisoning. Their attacks are not only physical but also chemical, making them formidable opponents. They are immune to mind effects such as fear, stun, and the Axis sign, and they feel no pain. These creatures can also summon multiple pods that serve as bombs and potential spawning points. Despite their formidable defenses, Archespores have notable weaknesses. They are highly sustainable to fire, making the Ignisign particularly effective against them. Silver weapons and strong vibrations, which cause them to flee underground, are also effective. Additionally, oils that damage cursed beings can be useful in combating them. Archespores are commonly found in the region of Tucson, a land known for its vineyards and picturesque landscape. However, their presence in such a beautiful place is a stark reminder of the dark history that can lurk beneath the surface. They thrive in areas rich in organic matter, particularly where blood has been spilled, making them a grim reminder of past atrocities. In the world of The Witcher, Archespores are often used in cautionary tales and legends. They symbolize the consequence of human cruelty and the wrath of nature. Stories of Archespores are told to children to warn them of the dangers of dark magic and the importance of respecting the natural world. Archespores are testament to the dark and twisted nature of the world of The Witcher, where even the most beautiful landscapes can hide deadly secrets. Their lore is rich in tapestry of myth, magic, and the eternal struggle between humanity and the natural world. Before finishing this video, let's read its bestiary entry in Witcher 1 and Witcher 3.
Some crimes are so terrible that they fill people with terror and offend the gods. The criminal's ill will and the cruelty of his deed conceive a curse that brings the Archespore to life. The beast attacks innocent creatures hatefully, trying to take vengeance until justice is done. Archespores look like gigantic, aesthetically unpleasing flowers with some of the traits of exceptionally cruel and bloodthirsty sundews. They are, however, far more dangerous than even the most colossal sundew. Their peculiar appearance makes them practically impossible to discern amidst other plants. By the time one draws close enough to realize what they are, it is often too late to flee. According to popular belief, Archespores are cursed plants grown in soil fertilized by the blood of the dying. They are most often found in places which in the past saw pogroms, bloody rituals, or cruel murders. 4 types of Archespore have been catalogued to date, differing from one another in terms of colouring: brown the least dangerous, green and purple the most dangerous. The final variant, said to have been cultivated by mages from Ban Adi, is the yellow Archespore, whose strength is similar to that of its green-coloured cousins. Regardless of colour, all Archespores fight using similar methods, attacking with powerful, jaw-like leaves. If their victim is out of reach, They can also spray caustic acid which, if it makes any contact whatsoever with the skin, can provoke a reaction similar to that caused by severe poisoning. Like other plants, all archespores are extremely vulnerable to fire, which is one of the most effective methods of fighting them. Silver also works well, as does any sort of shockwave. Archespores do not like strong vibrations, which cause them to flee underground at once. Due to the nature of their origins, oil damaging to cursed beings can also be useful against them.
Thank you for watching this video. Please make sure to subscribe and like this video, as it greatly helps our channel. And until the next video, goodbye.